Aloha, this is Kevin Kimball and at BYU Hawaii, and the purpose of this video is to step you through the solution to the extra credit assignment on how to create a fixed payment mortgage amortization schedule without using a mouse. So this is the schedule you're going to be creating. Now you should have already seen this when you did exam 1. It's virtually identical, just different numbers as the input numbers here and here. So those change, and if you change those, then the schedule down below changes. In the sample exam for this no mouse extra credit assignment, the loan period is going to be 10 years. So if you take 10 years times 12, you should have 120. So I'm going to put my cursor on the month, hit the end button and release it, and then hit the down button. And what that does, that hotkey, it moves all the way down to the end of a list of numbers, as long as there's something in every single cell. But if I were to delete that and then go end down, it's going to stop, because this blank works like a brick wall. So it's going to go down to a list of contiguous numbers and stop whenever you hit a blank. I'll hit Control Z to undo that and go back up. So the basic idea, you have the home, you have the down payment, which is a multiplication of the home price times the down payment. And you can see up above in the formula, I used range names. Loan amount, 150,000, because it's 200,000 minus 50. Interest rate, all that comes down, and hitting the F2 button, I'm showing the formula. So with that all computed, you're going to come down, and the payment is going to be a fixed, an absolute reference to that payment, because as you copy that down, you always want it to say C14. The interest is going to be the prior month balance times the annual interest rate divided by 12. And make sure you get the parentheses here correct. And you put the parentheses before the annual interest rate, and then after. If you leave it out, you could get erroneous results. The principal would be the payment, as you can see, less the interest rate. That's the principal reduction, and therefore your math over here has to take the prior balance of 150,000 less the principal reduction. That gives you a new balance. And if you do that for 120 months, as you can see, end down, you get to 0. Okay, so bottom line is end up here. You've got a payment. The payment first has to go towards paying the interest, and then any extra payment goes towards reducing the principal, which is used in this formula to reduce the balance. Now some people find it helpful to pay extra on their payments, so maybe they'll put in an extra $1,000. You'll see that the balance drops by the full 1,000. You see that? 148, because every additional dollar above and beyond $562 goes towards reducing the full loan amount. Okay, so I hit F2 and I deleted that, and now we're going to be ready to start creating this video, creating the spreadsheet without using a mouse. So as soon as Excel opens, you should be able to go Control N standing for new. Now I'm going to use a mouse sometimes just to show you the correlating function. Okay, so Control N, I'll just hit it, Control N, creates a new worksheet. And you can see up above, and I'm going to use my mouse to point to it, it's Book 4 now. If you remember, I already had another schedule, which is what this was. See, this was already going, and I used the Control N. Now the way you can discover new hotkeys is you just click on, for example, the Office button, and every one of these words here, the underlined letter indicates the hotkey for that function. Okay, so just kind of remember that. Also, sometimes it may even show you another hotkey. See that? That's F12, Save As. This one, you see, if I move it over, it's Control S is what that reveals there. Okay. Anyway, so that's where I got the Control N. Okay, so I'm going to go back, and it was the, I'll show you that, it was the N here. You see that? So that's Control N, and that gave me a new workbook. Okay. So here's the sample exam. This is practice exam 3. You can just go into the instructor website and find this. It talks about this being a no mouse exam. And if you want to learn other hotkeys, you can go to this file here and open that up. Just open it. And it shows you other hotkeys. Okay, so for example, well, here's the function page that opens, but we've got to go to the hotkeys, and you can see Alt plus equals inserts an auto sum function, or paste values, or you see all these different hotkeys. Okay, so that's that, and that's what you can refer to in learning the different hotkeys that you would need for this exam. Okay, but once again, you can just follow along, and hopefully you can learn all the basic things that you would need to know. So next we get some standard information about the home price, down payment, interest rate, and loan period. And then we have the specific requirements. And you do make sure you start on the right rows because that helps us in our grading, and that's kind of the main reason for that. All right, so let's move into the actual creation of the solution. First thing we want to do is go ahead and save it. Alt F8. And you can see now we have an option of saving it. And I believe in the testing center that the computers are set up to save it to My Documents. I hope that that's the case. I'm going to pull this screen up a little bit just so you can see. I'm going to use the mouse just to show you this. But you see this S here, so as soon as it comes up, you can hit N. Control N, or N, Alt N, sorry. If you hit Alt N, that's what this is referring to, that N here. You hit Alt N there, and I can use my mouse, and I can just call this whatever the name of the file needs to be. Accounting 232B, no mouse. Okay. And I'm going to save that to My Documents, and I'm just hitting Enter. Okay, so let's go ahead and title it up. Now you should be familiar with this because you already have it from the Accounting 232B Exam 1. So I'm not going to spend much time talking about labeling of the exam. I'm just hitting Enter. There's no special hotkeys you need in order to set this up. Prepared on, and if you want to, you can go equals date, actually equals today, left and right parentheses, hit Enter. Purpose, the purpose of this worksheet is to compute the fixed payment for a mortgage at a specified rate. Now some students don't take the time to write a purpose on the spreadsheets, and you will lose points for that because we want people to know what it's for. Okay, now I'm going to I use my mouse to go up, and I'm going to hold the Shift button down, and I'm going to highlight maybe out to column E. Now this one's not quite that fast, but I'm going to go to Alt H, and when I hit the Alt button, you can see that the hotkey appears for H being home. So I'm going to hit H for home. That brings up all these others, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Alignment, FA, because I want to see the alignment here. And now you can see I have horizontal, and I want this to be, I want this to wrap. So I'm going to do Alt W, which wraps, and then I'm going to hit Alt H, which allows me to choose. And I want this to be centered across the selection. That's how I'm going to do this one. And I hit Enter, and then Enter again, and that's one way of doing your purpose. You could also merge the cells, as you may have seen before. And once again, you go Alt H, FA, and you see the M there for merge right here. So I'm going to use a mouse sometimes to show you, but I won't use it to actually complete these in. Alt M, and now what we'd have to do is we'd have to change the cell height. Okay, so I'm going to go Alt H, and you see over here there's these cells. I'm going to hit O, and choose H for row height, and I'd have to make this a little bit bigger. Why don't we do it 45? Okay, so you get the idea. And then once again, I can go back to the alignment, Alt H FA, and do a left alignment. You know, if you're doing alignment up there, instead of centering it across, Alt H, I want to do a left, maybe just a general is fine, and hit OK, and you see we've done that. Okay, now the other thing, if I wanted to underline the purpose, I can go Alt B. Well, that would be bolding here. It's actually Control B. So F2 puts me into the edit mode. Then I hold the home button. I hold the Shift button down, and then hit Home. So that goes all the way back to the beginning. And then I can go Control B, standing for bold, and Control U, standing for underline. Okay, next thing, let's go to data section. Data section, home price, and all these. I'm just going to type in, you know what this stuff is. Down payment percentage, down payment dollars, loan amount. So you can see I'm not having to use a mouse doing this. You just hit enter, interest rate. And now I made a mistake, so I go up and hit F2, which is the edit, and then I hit the back button, interest rate, loan period in years, and payment. Okay, so I've got all those. Let's go over to the home price, 200,000. These are all the user input, 25%. Down payment's going to be the home price times the down payment percentage. The loan amount would have to be, and I'm just hitting the equal sign. Once again, I'm not having to use a mouse, minus the 50,000. Interest rate, that's given at 4.5%. And loan period is 10 years. And the payment will be equals PMT. And the rate, 4.5. But I have to divide that by 12. Number of periods is 10, but I have to multiply that by 12. And you can watch my other videos for explanations of that. The present value is the loan amount. And future value is going to be 0, so that's default. We can leave it off. And the type would be the type of annuity, and you can learn about that in a later video. So I hit enter. Now in this case, I actually want it to appear as a positive number, so I'm going to hit F2, hit the home button, hit the minus to change it from being a minus sign to a plus sign, because it's a minus. When you don't have that, it shows it as red, kind of indicating like a cash outflow. But I hit F2, and then the minus, I can get rid of the equal sign and hit enter. Okay, so next thing we have to do, we have to format this. So I'm going to highlight it. Now this isn't quite that fast without a mouse, but I'm going to hit Alt and then H for home, because I want to get up here and be able to change the color. So we're going to hit H, and you can see color up there is H again. Okay, and then you just use your mouse to move around on the color you want. So if you wanted this right there, that would be your color. Now one thing you might want to notice is that you can copy a format. It's called a format painter. It's actually this thing right here. And I'll show you how it works with the mouse, and I'll show you what doing it without. You just click on something that's already formatted the way you want, and then you move down and click on the thing you want to have formatted the same. And it just copies the format. It doesn't copy the number, it copies the format. So I'm going to Control Z that to undo. Let me finish. Okay, I'll keep going. Interest rate and loan period, once again, these are user input values. These are independent variables. So Alt, H, H, and then you go over to your color that you want, and you're good. Okay, we may come back. We'll still come back and do some of this editing, or maybe I'll do it now. I want to edit this as $1, so I'm going to Alt, and you can see up the top H for home, and the dollar symbol was AN, and we want English dollar, and that's that. So we can actually Control click. Well, Control. Actually, I'm going to do Shift and hold this down because both of these are currency. Alt, H, AN, English, and you got it. Okay, so these are pretty much formatted the way you want. We could center these. For example, the down payment, Alt H, and AC I think is center. So Alt H, AC is center. I could highlight two at the same time, Alt H, and once again AC is this over here, alignment AC, okay, which I assume stands for alignment center. Okay, so that's up through the data section. Last thing in data section, I guess we wanted to do this. We're going to have to go Alt H, H again for color, because that's over here, right? And then change the color, and that's good. We're going to have to go Alt H again to get over to the borders. So I'm going to hit B, and I want a border that goes around the whole thing, maybe in a light line. And I'm sitting on data section. Control B, Control U, and that matches what we've done. I guess the last formatting thing up above is bolding. That's a Control B. Okay. You know, they did try to use letters that would indicate what it is. Control B, bold, Control C, copy, that kind of stuff. Okay, next thing, our answer section. I'm going to go Control B, Control U, go out to E, Alt, sorry, I hit Control, Alt, H, H standing for the color, and this one I want to maybe have a little bit lighter color, maybe this orange over here. And the last thing, to put a border around it, B for border, and do an outside border. And I could have just typed S there, by the way, because you saw that. Let me just show that. Alt H, B, and you see that there's an S there. I could just hit S, and it would have done that. Okay, now we're on to the next piece of this. We are going to title month, payment, interest, principal, and balance. And I'm going to hold my shift button down, highlight all these, go Control B, Control U, and then might as well go Alt H, alignment center, and now all those are centered and aligned. Okay, we've got a 0, 1, 2, 3. Now, in the prior exam where you could use a mouse, what I would have you do, since you numbered these, is you'd go like this. You'd highlight these, and then you'd grab your mouse, and then you drag and drop, and it would automatically number them. Well, since you can't use a mouse, I'm going to show you another way to do this. Just type 0 in month 1, and then just write a formula which takes the prior month plus 1. Now that you have that, you can go Control C, and then go down as far as you think you need, based on the question. And then you can hold your shift button down and delete the rows you don't need. You could have already computed that if you wanted, but so I hit delete. Okay, so now we've got all the months labeled. Okay, next is our balance. We go balance, and we're going to go up and we're going to pick up the balance, which would be the original loan amount. And you notice I'm not taking the time here to name the ranges. That's okay if you don't. I'll show you later how to do that, but it's okay if you don't name the range. Okay, so that's fine. Our payment will be the prior balance. Sorry, our payment has to be equal the payment. This is a fixed payment. You hit enter. Now, if I were to copy this down, this is a common mistake that students are making. If I were to just copy that down, it starts to have a problem. Why? Because when I've got the payment here in B20, it refers to C14. But since I didn't fix the row reference by putting a dollar in front of it, as I copy it down, now it's C15, C16, C17. That's why some of you may have had that problem on a prior exam. So I'm going to delete those, go back to the original payment, hit F2, and then hit F4, which fixes the column and the row. And then I'll be able to copy that down to the bottom of the whole schedule. Okay? And I'm not going to do it yet because I'm going to have to copy this whole row down, so I don't want to waste my time copying and then doing it for every single one of the columns. Interest. The interest is going to be equal to the prior balance, and I don't want to fix the row reference to be 19 all the time because when I copy it down, I want it to become 20, 30, you know, I want that to change as this formula gets copied down. So I'm not going to fix either the column or the row reference because I'm copying down in the same column and I want the rows to change. So it's that interest, it's the former balance times, and I just held the shift button down and hit the 8 key, which gave me the asterisk. I go up to the interest rate, and I do want that to be fixed. So while I'm on the interest rate, I'm going to hit F4. Make sure you hit that. Otherwise, as you copy it down, it'll become C13, C14, and you don't want that to happen. And since that's an annual interest rate, we have to divide by 12, and we wrap that up. So that's the interest for 1 month. The next is going to be principal. In other words, how much of this payment goes towards reducing the principal? Well, since $562 of the payment was used only for interest, the difference must be principal. So I'm going to go equals minus interest rate, and it's $992 in your payment there. Let me get my mouse. Okay, so I'm just making sure I'm back on my spreadsheet. I stopped to take care of something else. Okay, so now I know how much my loan is going to be reduced by this payment, and that's $992. So therefore, this should be about $149,000 because you're going to take the prior balance minus the principal. Both of these need to be relative referencing with no dollar signs fixing the column or the row, and that's it. So now I've got this first row ready. I can just go, I can hold the shift button down, and in fact I'll show you a fast way. Hold the shift button down, hit the end, and then right arrow key, and that'll highlight all the contiguous cells. Now I've got that, Control C, move down one cell, and now hold the shift button down, and just maybe hit your page down until you get to the bottom here. There are faster ways, but I think we're okay. And then hit Enter. Okay, so so far it's looking pretty good. Let's check. This is one thing that some of you need to do before you submit your assignments to me, your exams, is hit End Down. This should zero out if it's a fully amortizing loan. That means it's fully paid off at the end of the loan period. And it does, so I think we've done it pretty well. I hit End Up to go up to the top. So what I'm going to do now is make sure that all my data in here is formatted properly. So I hold the Shift button down, hit End Over, with over meaning the right arrow key. Now End, I hit End and release, and then down arrow key. I'm going to do it one more time, End, down, and I've highlighted all my data. Now I want to format them so they're consistent. Okay? Alt brings up the various hotkeys for the ribbon and the toolbar. H brings up all the hotkeys for the home ribbon. And as you can see here, we want to do AN, which is the accounting number format. Just hit AN, and English is the one we want, and hit Enter. Okay, now we can check all the way down. Looks like it's good. Looks like our column widths are wide enough. So it looks like we're good there. So I'm just gonna kind of scan through my spreadsheet one more time. I could shorten the height here. Why don't I do that? Alt H O, and maybe make my row height a little bit smaller. In fact, let me go through that one more time. Alt H O, and if they do an auto fit row height, let's see if that works. Yeah, it didn't work as well as I wanted. So Alt H O, and I'm going to do the row height. I'll manually do this, and let's say it's 35. And I think, let me get in and make sure I hit F2 here. I didn't finish my purpose, specified period. Okay, so that's good. I think all that's good up at the top. Our formatting here looks good. In this section looks good. I don't really see anything else we need to change, so I'm just going to hit Control Home. Now, how do you save it without using mouse? Alt F, and you see the different options over here, the different save options. Okay, I'm going to put my mouse down again. Oops, sorry. I'll do that one more time. Alt F, and hit the S representing save, and it's saved. I'm going to hit enter, or you can hit C to continue, and it's saved and it's ready to upload. At this stage you can then close. I'm going to go Alt F and close, which was C. Alt F C. Now it's closed. Now at this stage you would be able to use a mouse to then get into Instructure, and you'd be able to upload your file, and you'd be done. So I actually don't use too many hotkeys in there, but I hope you did see that by hitting the Alt button you can bring up all the menu items, and I just did some basic formatting hotkeys. While we're here, let me just show you a couple other hotkeys which I think are useful. So I'm going to bring up my mouse just to open this, but okay, so now I'm back into where I would have been. One you might be interested in, if you want to know what your total payments are for the life loan, you can go Alt equal, Alt equal, by holding the Alt button down. Hold the Alt button down and hit equal. It automatically sums all the contiguous cells up above. So that's 186,000. If you wanted to verify that that's true, you can go over here and take your payment times 10 times 12, 10 years times 12 months, 186,159. If you wanted to verify that that was right, do this. You can hit minus, end down, enter, comes up to 0, therefore it reconciles. So Alt equals is a nice function. Okay, Control Home, back to the top. I don't want to spend much more time on this video, but hotkeys can save you time. You do have that hotkeys schedule. I'll show that to you one more time. This hotkey schedule is very useful. I would recommend you just read through it and think of the ones in the schedule under hotkeys. So it's on the hotkeys tab. Okay, there's a hotkeys tab, and just kind of look through these and ask yourself, hey, do I ever insert rows, or do I have to jump to a certain place, or there's just a lot of very useful features in here, and actually use the ones that you use, and the ones that you don't use, don't worry about. So that's pretty much it, and wish you all the best on this extra credit assignment, and aloha.